So here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. I've discussed with you guys my MCAT, how I increased my score, and my MCAT study strategies. I've also broken down my primary application with you guys. I've talked about how I got 14 medical school interviews and how I turned those 14 interviews into 10 medical school acceptances. Now, in this video, I'll be discussing my thought process and how I chose my medical school. And make sure you stick to the very end of this video where I'll be revealing where I'll be headed to medical school this upcoming August. Let's get started. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on this video. For those of you who may be new to my channel, my name is Terence. I'm an accepted medical school applicant and I'll be starting medical school this upcoming August of 2020. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe and like this video if you enjoy these videos. I'll be putting out weekly videos just like this every single week. So I want to first start off the video by saying that I'm very fortunate to receive 10 medical school acceptances throughout this year's application process. I know everybody's goal and mission is always, just get one acceptance, and wherever I get accepted, that's where I'm going to go. And being able to even make this video and tell you guys how I'm choosing between all these options I have is just a dream come true to me. So I just want to thank, everybody that's helped me get to this point in my life so far. If you're interested in seeing my primary application, make sure you go check out the video. I'll tag in this one, how I got 10 medical school acceptances, where I break down my primary application that allowed me to do so. After submitting 21 applications to medical schools in last year's cycle, I received acceptances from the following schools: SUNY Downstate Medical College, Albert Einstein College of Medicine, Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, Sidney Kimmel Medical College at Thomas Jefferson University, UConn School of Medicine, Tufts School of Medicine, Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra University, Renaissance School of Medicine at Stony Brook University, UMass Medical School, and lastly, Boston University School of Medicine. If you're familiar with any of these schools and maybe even done research on these schools yourself or schools that you're interested in applying to this cycle, you'll notice that they're all in the Northeast region of the United States, and that's no surprise. That kind of leads me into my first factor that influences my decision to choose a medical school, which is location. So being from Long Island, New York, personally myself, I've went to college at Stony Brook University, and I've been surrounded by a suburban environment pretty much my entire life. I've traveled to New York City here and there for leisure, but predominantly spent my time on Long Island and in the suburban culture. And what I really wanted to experience was something new when I went to medical school. I knew that medical school kind of had my options of where I wanted to be and where I wanted to learn medicine, and I was really heavily influenced as I did more and more research that I wanted to learn from diverse patient populations. I wanted to be exposed to a new culture and more diverse culture in a bigger city. So that's something that really heavily influenced my decision on where not only I applied to medical schools, but where I chose to go to medical school. Also, another thing that's associated with location is how expensive is it to live in that city and the cost of living in a certain city or certain area if I were to attend a certain medical school. And, I'll go into expenses and finances a little bit later and how that influenced my decision. But overall, that's something that I had in the back of my mind as far as, when I was choosing which schools to attend, how much money will it cost me to live in these areas. The next thing that played a huge role in whether or not I attended a specific medical school was my interview day. The interview is something that's very unique because you could do all the research you want on the school prior. You could do, your Googles, you could look at the forums, you could see what people are saying about it. You could talk to even medical school students over the phone and different things like that. But until you go there and you experience it for yourself, there's nothing like it. And there's nothing that you can beat, going in and really feeling the vibe of the school. When I went on my interviews, I wanted to not only put on my best impression so that I would get accepted to the school, but I also wanted to get a good vibe and see whether or not this school would be a good fit for me and kind of get answers to questions that you can't really find online and only can kind of feel out as you go throughout your interview day. So things like, does the school care about its students? Does it care about its students' success? How are the faculty like? Do they actually have a passion for teaching and education, or are they just, teaching because they're associates? What does the school expect out of students? I went to a school interview and they said, our students go on to graduate and they go on to change the world. And that was something that was inspiring to me and really gravitated me towards that school. Other things like, what are the students like at the school? Will I mesh in this environment? Will I mesh in this community that the med school has built around their school? Is there a community at all to begin with, or is it just, the students stay in their lane and the people around the school kind of stay in their lane as well? Or is there a tight-knit community or a family that's developed? Another thing that I looked out for was whether or not these schools kind of made change. Were they implementing change in their curriculum from year to year? I know a lot of schools are changing curriculum, so I wanted to see, are these schools implementing change? Are they listening to the students? If the students have grievances or complaints, are they making those changes to accommodate the students? And ultimately, when I left the interview, I wanted to know and wanted to feel inspired that, if I went to that school, I'd be inspired daily to practice medicine, learn medicine, and, honestly just master my craft at that school. So these are all these different things that I went in on my interview day and kind of wanted to feel at the end of my interview day. And at the end of every day, I made sure to voice record my feelings and my emotions of that interview day. So I pretty much would detail from the beginning of the day to the end of the day how I feel, the good and the bad. And I did that whether it was in my car in the garage after my interview or on my drive home. And I really just wanted to have this raw, unfiltered, unedited version of myself. So when I was deciding to choose a school at the end, I was able to reflect on how I truly felt at the end of my day. So the next thing is curriculum. For me, I personally really paid attention to curriculum, and curriculum was something that really influenced whether or not I'd attend a school. So a lot of schools now are switching over to problem-based learning and case-based learning, which has been shown to really allow students to kind of dive deep and reverse engineer their learning process. Instead of just memorizing the entire textbook, you're now going based on cases and kind of constantly integrating patient-based care and patient care into your learning process. And that was something that I enjoyed and I was, interested in, but I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted my entire learning process to be patient-based learning or case-based learning. I know a lot of schools that implemented that into their program that I interviewed at, and I was interested in kind of having a hybrid of online lectures and also in-person lectures and also those patient-based learning small groups. So that was something in that combination of curriculum was something that really influenced my decision. I learned very, very well in undergrad. We had online recorded lectures for a lot of classes and not all classes were mandatory. So I kind of learned in that manner and it was something that was effective for me. So it was something that I had a comfort for and I gravitated towards in my, medical school curriculum. So having that hybrid was something that definitely influenced my decision. And, curriculum was something that really allowed me to determine whether a school would be a good fit for me. Would I be optimizing my learning at this school and would I be getting the best possible education for me? Every school is going to get you to where you need to be and every school is going to have, ultimately make you a medical doctor at the end of the day, but would it allow me to, be the best person that I possibly am and best learner that I possibly am and give me those opportunities? And that's what made me gravitate towards certain schools over other ones. Next thing that influenced my decision were the extracurricular activities and the opportunities surrounding the school. So not only was I looking for a school that could make me the best medical school student I could possibly be, but also fulfill my personal interests and also my, different interests in volunteerism and whether or not I could do a club or an extracurricular activity to just keep me, well balanced. I'm somebody that kind of likes a lot of different things, and just having the opportunity to jump into one thing, whether that's a pipeline program, a free clinic, volunteer program, or even shift to a club at my school in a specific, medical specialty that I have an interest in. Just giving me all these opportunities to really do what I was interested in and kind of find my way and spread my fingers throughout the medical school. So opportunity was number one for me when it came to deciding what school to go to, and that kind of meshes in curriculum, location, and their extracurricular activities as well. So moving on, the next thing is scholarships and the cost of the school. So I mentioned briefly earlier the cost of living in a certain location, but other things that I factored in were the cost of the school. So I will admit for sure that I didn't always think about the cost of the school. So when I was applying to schools, I didn't even look at the price tag really. It wasn't until I went really on my interviews that I was more paying attention to it. And I will naively admit that I thought, loans are loans. They won't really make or break me. I'm going to be making a lot of money as a doctor, so I'll be able to pay it off regardless. But it wasn't until I started getting acceptances and was coming down to deciding what schools to apply or what schools to choose and go to that I started to really pay attention to the price tag And along with that came, scholarships. Was I offered a scholarship from the school? Was I offered, financial aid from the school? And those really influenced my decision. I will tell you though, when making this decision to go to a school, I would definitely put your happiness at the school and your interest in the school and will you love going to that school and be happy there over the cost of attendance. Some people don't agree with that, but I've heard stories of people that have even turned down full ride scholarships to attend a medical school that they knew that they would be happy at and ultimately become successful doctors and become successful physicians, surgeons in their future, regardless of that cost of attendance. So I would definitely factor in that happiness over the cost of attendance. But if two schools are very comparable to you, they're very close on your list, definitely have to weigh in on that money. How much is going to cost to live there? How much is it going to cost to attend there? How much difference are the loans going to be at the end of your practice or at the end of your medical school years? So I would definitely be sure to factor in those things and factor in cost of attendance, scholarships, push for those scholarships, push for those financial aids, and kind of leverage them as you decide what schools to go to. And lastly, but absolutely not least, probably most important, is that it factor and that feeling that you get when you leave the school and you leave that interview day. When you think about the school, that feeling that you get about it. I knew immediately when I left my interview, the second that I left and the second that it ended, that this was a school that I wanted to go to as long as they accepted me. And a bunch of different factors that influenced my decision to go to that school, but ultimately I knew and I had that feeling inside of me that that was a place that I could spend the next 4 years of my life and be very, very happy and be happy that I'm in an environment where I'm learning medicine here. So you can't really put an adjective or a description on it. And when people ask you, why do you want to go to the school over other schools, you sometimes can't describe it, or you can't really say what's really different because everything kind of is the same. The students are all great, the curriculums are very, very similar, but you feel that feeling when you know that that's the school for you. And that feeling, you have to make sure you listen to your gut. I mentioned before that that happiness of you being at that school and how happy the students are definitely a big factor in whether or not you will enjoy your time at that school. So definitely pay attention to that gut feeling and definitely pay attention to that it factor. Thank you for everyone who made it to the end of this video. Even if you just skipped to the end of the video and just went to the timestamps in the description, I still appreciate you. Now it's time for the reveal and where I decided to go to medical school. So my decision was very, very challenging. Although I had that it factor and I had that feeling, I still had so many great opportunities and so many great schools that offer me the ability to attend their medical school and join their 2024 class. And with a lot of thought and a lot of decision making, weighing my options, I ultimately decided to attend Sidney Kimmel Medical College at Thomas Jefferson University. I'm very, very excited to be able to begin my medical school journey in Philadelphia. It was a great city for me and something that I was very, very attracted to. Not too far from home for me. Also, just something that's very vibrant, very lively city, a very cultured city. And I wanted to be able to, like I mentioned before, learn in a diverse culture. I was also fortunate to receive a scholarship from them. So that goes into my decision making of why I chose that school, but also, things like curriculum, my fit in the school, my fit in the environment was something that I was heavily gravitated towards, and I'm very, very excited to begin my journey in Philadelphia. Thank you for everybody that watched this video. Make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoy this video, and join me on my journey as I go from Long Island, New York to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and start my medical school career. Thank you again for watching, and let's get it.